Okay guys, welcome to the channel, 24-hour Rugby Jake, and it's my first time doing one of these preview videos. We're going to preview England versus France, Le Crunch at Twickenham. Sorry, scrap that, Allianz Stadium. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sort of predicting what's going to happen in the game. Look at the lineups. It's my first time sort of doing a video going through the lineups. And basically, I think a lot of people will be coming from TikTok, either my TikTok or one of the others which feature me, or they'll be coming from Casual Bias Rugby YouTube. And if you're not coming from Casual Bias Rugby YouTube, go subscribe to his channel. He's not very nice, but I'm on it, so go subscribe to that channel. That has some good content, obviously when I feature. But yeah, obviously we're reviewing England versus France in this video. I'm really excited. The first game in 2025 at the Allianz Stadium for the England team. Yeah, I'm really nervous. I'm very nervous about the French, what threats they pose. I think it's a very different threat compared to the Irish team and their strengths. So I feel like England are better managed to cope with the sort of game Ireland are playing, and France I'm more worried about. They have the tools to really rip England apart. But first of all, let's get into the England lineup. So first of all, we start off with mostly the same pack as we had last week against the Irish. Genge and Will Stewart start as the two starting props, and Luke Cowan-Dickie continues his role as the starting hooker for England. I think all three of those had really good games last week. Particularly Will Stewart in the autumn as well. He's been in great form and pretty good form for Bath as well. So happy to see him continue his role as the starting tight head. Then into the back row, the second row, same as last week. Itoje and George Martin. I think George Martin had his best game in England shirt for a little while. And Itoje, again, I thought was a good enforcer. Some people criticising his attitude as a captain. I think he did a decent job, personally. A few things he could tweak, but Ben O'Keefe, in my opinion, wasn't really reffing very well. And then into the back row, Tom Curry continues at 6, and then Ben O is switched to 7. And we're getting rid of a Ben. We don't want Ben Curry. No, too many Bens in that. We need an extra Tom. So we've got two Toms in the back row. Tom Willis starts at number 8. Obviously, if you've been watching the Premiership this season, Tom Willis has been in phenomenal form for Saracens. Absolutely deserves this start. He deserved the call up in his sub appearance last week, and he's getting a start this week, and I think he's more impactful starting than he is off the bench. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this back row goes. I think this is the strongest English back row we can pick currently, obviously with Underhill out and Jack Willis unavailable. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this back row can go. And yeah, let's get into the back line. Very, very interesting, because we have a starting Northampton Saints halfback pairing of Alex Mitchell and Finn Smith. This is really interesting. Steve Borthwick, in my opinion, has been really harsh on Finn Smith in the last year and the amount of game time he's gotten. He's not gotten a single start for England, and we played Japan twice. He came off the bench for both those games, if I recall correctly, and he came off the bench a couple of times in last year's Six Nations against Scotland, definitely, and I think Italy and Wales. So maybe 3 games. It's going to be really interesting to see how Finn Smith actually goes against the French. I mean, this is a massive game to chuck him in at number 10 and, manage the whole game. The French experienced team, Jalibert is a quality player. And I'm not doubting Finn Smith's ability. We've seen it at Northampton Saints in big games. In the Premiership final, he did a pretty good job at Croke Park, even when Leinster really got ahead of, put Northampton under a lot of pressure in the first 20 minutes. Finn Smith had quite a good game. So he's been in these big occasions, and he's I think he can manage the game well enough. It's just going to be, can he handle the pressure? Because this will be the biggest game of his career so far. So yeah, good luck to Finn Smith. We saw Caden Murley struggle a bit last week with the pressure on his debut. I definitely think he should get another shot. We all struggle sometimes under pressure. No, not like that. Just under pressure, big moments, people can crumble in the first game or two. It doesn't mean they can't then be test match monsters for the next, 50 to 100 caps. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Finn Smith goes. Ollie Lawrence and is at 13, and Henry Slade is at 12. Don't know why I said that the wrong way around, but they continue as a centre pairing. I think Henry Slade and Lawrence in particular was fantastic last game against the Irish in the Aviva Stadium. I think Henry Slade also had a pretty good game, and he gets a lot of unfair stick, in my opinion, just generally. So yeah, happy to see that combo continue on, give it another go, especially against the lesser experienced Moefana and Barassi for France. I don't know why I said that as a sort of Italian thing, but yeah, Barassi and Moefana for the French centre pairing, and yeah, I think Ollie Lawrence and Slade can handle that. What I'm worried about is the back three. Here we go, England's back three. Ollie Slightholme, Tommy Freeman, and Marcus Smith at 15. So just want to quickly start off with Ollie Slightholme. He is replacing Caden Murley, who has an injury. Ollie Slightholme probably would have come in either way. He had a knock for the first week, so good to see him back. He had a really good impact in every game he came on in the Autumn Nation Series and the All Blacks game in June or July, whenever it was. So yeah, really excited to see Ollie Slightholme get another go in an England shirt. And then Tommy Freeman continues in his 14 role, which he's been in a constant for the last year. Marcus Smith at 15. I think this is a really difficult decision. The thing is, I can see why Steve Borthwick's done it. You know, he's dynamic, and the French back line is going to be dynamic. He's kind of a second 10. You know, he can pull the strings from a 15 role as like a second ball player. But Slade can also do that. So you got three options there, really. Pretty good kicking game, Marcus Smith. I think he's really stepped up his kicking game in the last, couple of years. So I don't hate it from Steve Borthwick. I'm just worried about Marcus Smith. His defence positionally, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he makes the wrong decision. I think the prime one is that last second Australia try at Twickenham a couple of months ago. Not that it is his fault, but he's not 15. And, if he'd left Furbank on, whoever's playing that game, and left Smith at 10 and not brought him forward and rejigged things, I think that try would have not been scored. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. Personally, I think Freddie Stewart would have been an interesting choice because he's probably the man with the biggest boot in that sort of English squad, other than maybe Elliot Daly. So seeing Stewart start at fullback might have helped counter Ramos. So it's an interesting... It's going to be interesting. But Marcus Smith could offer a lot as well. We saw how well he played against France last year in the Stade de France. He was incredible. It might not be in the Stade de France, actually. It's probably somewhere else. But he had a great game last year in the Six Nations against France. And he was playing 15. So we'll see. I don't hate it. And into the substitutions, we continue with Finn Baxter and Joe Hayes as the two replacement props. They both came on quite late last game. Well, Joe Hayes was like a carousel, back on and off with Will Stewart. But Baxter gets another go off the bench. And then we get the return of Jamie George coming in as a replacement hooker. Theo Dan is out, so I don't know what... I mean, just been out, the 23. I don't know if he's out. I feel like Curtis Langdon to get a start, but maybe not against France. But I'd like to see Curtis Langdon get at least some minutes off the bench against in one of their next 3 test matches. And then we got Ollie Chesterman, Cunningham South, continuing their role as the sort of big enforcers to come off the bench. Hopefully we can build up Ollie Chesterman's fitness and form, and if he refines some of his form last Six Nations, I thought he was fantastic. Ben Curry swapped with Tom Willis in the starting and bench position, so he's now on the bench. And then interesting, we've gone for a 6-2 split England, and we've got Harry Randall and Elliot Daly as the two back substitutions. I like Randall and he plays well for Bristol Bears, but England don't play like Bristol Bears. And in the high pressure moments, does he get everything completely correct? I'm not so sure. I think Spencer might have been a steady hand to have, or Jack Van Portfleet. I think they're both fit, aren't they? So, it's an interesting one. And then Elliot Daly, fantastic decision, because he plays 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He can cover any of the back line pretty much, other than scrum half. It's a great option if you're going to go for 6-2 split. As I said, he's the only other guy other than Freddie Stewart who has the massive boot on him to really counter Ramos's kicking game. He's experienced. He's playing really well this season for Saracens. He's got, as I said, a big left boot for kicking off a tee, so that might come in handy potentially. So I think it's a really sensible option having Elliot Daly on the bench. I feel like he should have been used more in the Autumn Series. I think he was pretty decent last Six Nations as well and went under the radar. So yeah, I'm very excited to see Elliot Daly back in the England squad. But let me know what your thoughts are on that England squad, and let's get into the French squad now. And it's an unchanged French squad this weekend as well. I'm going to absolutely butcher some pronunciations, or was it pronunciation? I mispronounce. Oh God, no, pronounce. Oh dear. I'm going to mispronounce some French pronunciations here. Jean-Baptiste Gros, Malvaca and Uini Antonio continue as the front row. Roumat continues at lock alongside Meafu, the two Toulouse boys, even though Roumat is actually more of a back row player, so a potential weakness there for France. And then we've got the other Gros, Francois Gros, Budahont and Gregory Aldrit in the back row for France. So yeah, I think there's a lot England can sort of get from that in a sort of a forwards battle. I think the scrum's going to be very dangerous for France. They're going to be very powerful at scrum time. But you look at the locks, and I think Itoje and George Martin can really attack that line out, which they did. They hardly did against Ireland, and it drove me insane. So yeah, I think in the scrums, the French can have a big advantage, but in the line-outs, England could cause a lot of disruption themselves. And then the sort of the back rows probably go up against each other pretty well. I still fancy England's is better on paper, but yeah. Then we continue at 9, best player in the world, Antoine Dupont. He is the best player in the world. He's incredible. Jalibert at 10. Interesting. I thought they might go Ramos, as they did in the autumn, but no. Obviously, Unsmak's been banned for that high tackle on one of the French Welsh players, Ben Thomas. So we're bringing in Jalibert at 10, or France are. Moafan and Brassi, as I mentioned earlier, are the centre pairing. I think that we can handle them pretty well. Now, what I'm dead scared of are the wings, Louis Biel-Biarré and Damien Penaud. He is back from his toe injury, which for me is just, we don't want to play him against Wales, let's just rest him. So, you know, I don't know if people watching this are fans of club rugby, but Damien Penaud played for Bordeaux against Exeter, and even though Exeter aren't doing great, he scored 6 tries himself in one game, so he's in a pretty good form for his club side. So I'm really scared. I'm really scared about Damien Penaud. Ollie Sightholm, however, is very quick. He can keep up with Penaud, but Penaud has something like a near 50% evasion rate on tackles. So nearly half the tackles that are attempted on him, he slips out of them and gets away. That is how dangerous Damien Penaud is. And then obviously Louis Biel-Biarré as number 11, so he'll be going up against Tommy Freeman. Hopefully Freeman can try and keep him under lock. He did it pretty well last year in the Six Nations, so we'll see how he goes this year. It's going to be very difficult. Biel-Biarré having a fantastic autumn for France, so in the Autumn Nation Series, so it's going to be quite difficult, and that's where I'm really worried France might rip it up against us. Thomas Ramos continues at 15. Was brilliant off the tee last week. Did a fantastic 50-22s. His overall kicky game is just massive for France. I mean, literally massive. His boot is probably the biggest in world rugby. Here's with James Lowe. He's fantastic in his kicking game, and it's a real asset to France. It gets them up the pitch. England could barely get out their own half against Ireland in the second half, and I think the French are even better with their sort of territory game. So this is the big areas I'm really worried about when it comes to England v France. I don't know, people. You have to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. What tactical areas do you think England can get back at France? Where do you think France have their clear edge? Yeah, I'm overall quite worried. Yeah. So on that note, let's get into some predictions for this game. Obviously, we're at home at Twickenham / the Allianz Stadium. That's England, that is. So obviously 2 years ago when we were last at home, it was what, 53-10 or something. Embarrassing. I'm still scarred from that game, and I have nightmares about it. And Olivon and Dupont were particularly great from what I remember. But Olivon's gone, thank God, for this round of Six Nations. So yeah, I still think France are going to win. Sadly, my heart, of course, wants England. I want England to win. I wore a really nice Six Nations jersey. That is France. It looks like Belgium, but you can hardly see it here. But never mind. But yeah, I think France sadly will win. Yeah, my heart is going for England, but my head says France. I think it could be about 15 points at least they win by. Like, it could be really close. Of course it could. England could win. England could win by 10 points, but I just see France getting a couple of ridiculous tries on their own half and just absolutely ripping England to shreds. Sort of a couple of boys maybe put their heads down after 2 back-to-back losses against teams they really want to be competing with and beating. So yeah, I'm going to go sort of about maybe a 30, 35, 20 sort of scoreline. Yeah. So that's my opinions. France looking dangerous on the wings. Obviously Dupont's going to be a danger. Their scrum is going to get them probably a few penalties and some field position. England can disrupt the line-outs. And they could have gone for a high ball kicking game, which France aren't historically great at dealing with. But not choosing Freddie Stewart tells me they're not going to try and do that sort of game. But we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, that's my predictions for this game on Saturday. If we get 50 subscribers in here by Saturday, I will go YouTube live for the game. So please subscribe and like the video if you want to. If you don't, I can understand, it's my first ever one, so it's probably not great. And I'll definitely be live on TikTok. If you have TikTok, go follow me on that. You probably already do if you're watching this. So I'll be live for that game on Saturday. I think it's at 4:45 English time, UK time. So yeah, join me for that. Let me know your predictions down in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to. If you don't, fair enough. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.